Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the media briefing for this Wednesday. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about fire. It doesn't look too serious out there today. When you think of fire, you think of, hot weather, dry winds, but we're really still at a high-risk time. And last week was the one-year anniversary of our fires of 2020 that most of us who were here will not forget: the Carmel fire, the River fire, the Dolan fire. So we've invited some of our fire experts, people who are really in the trenches and working in the field, to talk about what we all need to know about fire danger in our area and prevention. So I'm really pleased to start off this conversation with Dorothy Priolo, the Deputy Fire Marshal for Monterey County Regional Fire District. Hi, Dorothy. Thanks for joining us on the briefing today.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here today. And as we observe the one-year anniversary of the start of both the Carmel and the River fires, I'd like to remind everybody that we have factors involved with both of those fires that we can prepare for, even if we can't predict when those fires like that are going to start. So number one, I'd like to ask everyone to continue to work around their homes to create that defensible space by trimming trees and mowing down weeds and brush, so that if a fire were to start in your neighborhood, your home would be able to withstand the exposure to that fire. We had several instances where even though fire has a specific pattern of behavior, there are times when it behaves unpredictably. In some cases, homes were spared miraculously and had very little damage. But a few other homes that were lost in the River fire had, unfortunately, very predictable outcomes. They sustained damage, or in a couple of cases were completely destroyed because of the lack of thorough defensible space work around their homes. So even if it's not desirable to do this work, it is important, especially in our rural areas, in the rural areas on the hillsides and in these other wooded areas. Please be sure to create that defensible space around your homes, and then from there you can concentrate on making sure that your family is prepared effectively to evacuate safely. So property is secured, and then personal belongings that are needed in the case of an evacuation are ready to go: records, important documents, and medications and things like that. So we have information through our fire district, as well as through the CAL FIRE website, that provides guidelines on how to create that defensible space, as well as prepare your family in the event of evacuation. Our website is mcrfd.org, and the CAL FIRE's website with that information is also readyforwildfire.org. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Dorothy, for sharing that information and to kind of walk us back and about how it happened. I think people, a year has passed and we forget that over 100 structures were destroyed, and then, a lot of land as well burned. And we're also pleased to have Chief Matt Harris from the Big Sur Fire Department. And boy, very few places know fires like Big Sur. And it's a worry all the time down there. And I'm hoping you'll talk with us about, what you're working on down there, the type of prevention that you do, and what you want both locals and visitors who come to Big Sur to know about fire safety.
Well, thank you for the introduction, and good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, it's hard to believe that we're just over the one-year anniversary of the Dolan fire, River, and Carmel fires, which had such an impact on our area. I'd like to echo what Dorothy said about defensible space. We just can't stress enough. And I publish a monthly article in our local little roundup here in Big Sur, constantly stressing the importance of defensible space, using those recognized guidelines that CAL FIRE has proven that work. I know we do have some conflict in Monterey County with our environmentally sensitive habitat areas, and that's an ongoing discussion. But when you really think about it, what you can do around your home now, before a fire starts, even if environmentally sensitive habitat is affected slightly, It's less than the effect of a wildfire that would burn through and potentially damage or destroy your home and the rest of the surrounding area. So while we still work through those, I have to echo again, the defensible space is so important. Continuing on, having an evacuation plan with you, with your property, maybe your tenants, your family, and using, again, CAL FIRE has thought this through, and this is from years of experience, and we've all been there, but now we've put it into writing, and that's the Ready, Set, Go plan, which is on their website. I know Monterey County Regional probably has a link as well, and bigsurfire.org has that link as well. But having that Ready, Set, Go plan and practicing it, and that's the most important thing. And we as firefighters are constantly practicing our craft so that when the emergency hits or the alarm rings, we're not stressed to the point where we're unable to function. When a fire happens in a neighborhood or in a rural area like Big Sur, anywhere, the stress factor is just incredible. But if you had practiced grabbing these boxes and your car is pointed in the right direction already, and you let your neighbors know that you are evacuating the area, and leaving room for the firefighters to come in and actually do their job, it's such an important thing. So even just running through it one time with your family is better than zero. But if you do it, once a year, kind of like changing your battery, the batteries in your smoke detector or something like that, it just becomes second nature and you're ready. So defensible space coupled with an evacuation plan and practicing that plan, having good communication with your neighbors and your local fire department, letting them know that you've gone and done the work for preparing your property for a fire. Here's our water system. Here's the connection. Here's the hat. Don't drive over our septic tank. It's here. It's marked. Stuff like that really makes a huge difference. And the time to do that is now, when there's not an emergency, when everybody's calm and able to think clearly. And so those are some of the things that I'd like to highlight. And we down in Big Sur have just completed a community mapping project with the help of CAL FIRE through a grant. And we have identified best access for roads, some evacuation areas, water systems, hazards, stuff like that. So those are the things we've been doing. And we are constantly, because our members live in the community, are constantly getting our message out there of preparation, practice, communication, and all of that sort of stuff. And so, while we've enjoyed a fairly humid summer so far, we're still not out of the weeds by any stretch in terms of fire danger. So we are ever ready down here on the coast and open for questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you both. And we're going to talk a little bit more about preparedness, which when we talk about preparedness, you talk about fire preparedness, but then there was after the fires. There was that little atmospheric river that we had after the fire that just really added to the trauma of that whole time. And Luna Mohammed from our Office of Emergency Services is here. She's going to walk us through some preparedness information and things that we all should know, and including, Luna, how many times should we practice that walk away with our box of important documents?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Luna. I'm the Community Resilience Coordinator for Monterey County OES. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. I want to share a little bit of material that we have available. Can everyone see the screen that says Ready Monterey County?
Yes, we've got you.
Great. So I'll add the link into the chat once I'm done speaking, but this is one of the web pages on Monterey County OES's website. And we have some preparedness toolkits that you can use to kind of take a step-by-step guide for preparing for wildfires in every and all emergencies. If you go on here, it is available in English and Spanish, and there's some information for those with additional needs, such as animals, children, people with disabilities, and people who own businesses. But what I would like to show you, let me stop share real quick and share the other page. And everyone can see the Resilient Monterey County Toolkit?
Yes.
Cool. So this toolkit provides 12 tasks you can do to prepare for disasters, everything from learning your risk through CAL hazards, webpage to preparing an evacuation kit and an emergency plan. There's a fillable plan in here, to knowing your neighbors and resilient habits like keeping your phone fully charged and your gas tank at least halfway full. And as Maya was saying, practicing your emergency plan, conducting drills at least twice a year, if not more. What I do want to focus on, because there was a little bit of discussion on plans and having that ready, is going to be on having an evacuation and emergency kit. We all had to shelter in place, and many people had to evacuate because of the past disasters and current disasters we have. And having a kit ready to go, both for sheltering in place and for evacuating, can be really helpful and save your life, if not at least a hassle, making the disaster less of a negative experience. So right here is some information on what you should include in all emergency kits you have. The type of emergency kit is going to vary based on if it's for sheltering in place, a work kit, a kit for your car, or a kit to evacuate, to take with you to evacuate. But you basically are thinking, what do I need if I have to be stuck in traffic and leave my house for an evacuation and I may not be back anytime soon? So you're thinking maybe some snacks, water if you're evacuating, medical supplies, extra medications, important documents, cash, pet supplies or supplies for children as well, a flashlight, first aid kit. This is for all kits that you should include these things. And again, it depends on what you're using it for. If I'm trying to evacuate, I'm not trying to have a 2-week supply of food and water to evacuate with. I need a backpack that I can carry. So maybe a couple bottles of water and some snacks, some reading materials. So if I'm stuck trying to evacuate and I'm stuck in traffic, I have something to do, or if I have to go to a shelter, I have what I need for that. Some extra stuff you should have at your home, near your bed, in the car, and your little go kit are as follows. It's always a good idea to keep a flashlight and some shoes next to your bed. We worry about wildfires, but earthquakes can happen anytime as well. So these are really things that you can use for any and all types of disasters. But I just wanted to share that information with you and have something available that's pretty simple and easy how-to guide on how to prepare. Remember that wildfire season's not over. We're still in the middle of a pandemic, and any disaster can happen at any time. We always want to be prepared. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll add the link in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Luna, very much. And so if anyone has any questions for any of the folks that we have who are talking about the fires last year, about safety and prevention, this is a good time to put your question in chat. Or let's see, if anyone wants to raise their hand and ask a question or has a question. This has been pretty, you guys have been pretty thorough.
Can you see my hand up?
I can. Hi, Gary.
Hi, everybody. Sorry to butt in with a couple of comments, but I just wanted to add a few things to what
Yay!
Dorothy,
I love
Harris,
Rafa.
and Luna said.
I'm going to mute. I'm going to mute whoever that was.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay. Sorry, I looked like I was getting stepped on there.
you were unintentionally.
Yeah. So Dorothy and Chief Harris, thank you so much. Luna, thank you for those really words of wisdom that need to be taken to heart. And I can't tell you, as a former fire professional, how much I agree and want to stress what Chief Harris and Dorothy were talking about as far as preparing your home. You asked me to talk a little bit about recovery, and I can tell you right now that the best recovery is to not have a loss. And the way you're going to minimize the risk of that is by the preventative measures that Chief Harris and Dorothy were talking about, with defensible space, structural hardening, and you're not limited to the minimum recommendations that CAL FIRE puts out. Those are the minimums: 100 feet, 5 feet for extremely combustible items around your home. You can go much farther than that. When a flaming front from a uncontrolled wildfire comes towards your home, and that flaming front is 400 feet, where the fire is not there yet, but the 1,000-degree heat is already at your home, the 100 feet of defensible space is not going to be enough. So, go ahead, and if you have the capability, consider more than that. That's even more protection. And as Luna said, the OES website is really a great tool. We also republish all of the same items that Chief Harris and Dorothy were talking about on their websites. And it was mentioned about evacuations, and the very, very good points from Chief Harris. I want to just stress one thing really to our residents, that we are only as good as the technology that we have to notify somebody. Your county OES has the responsibility to send out the warnings and emergency evacuation orders. But if you're not signed up, or we don't have a way to get a hold of you, you're basically limited to just traditional media. So there's many areas in our county that cell phones don't work very good. And you need to prepare ahead of time to get those messages in a critical situation that we're sending out. And you can opt in for those, and you can actually decide how you want to get notified. There's several different avenues. And if cell phones don't work in your area, you can do it online or in other ways. So please keep that in mind, that we have a county of 500,000 people, and only 83,000 people have opted into our warning systems. That's not that's better than it was a few years ago, but it's certainly not where we want to be. So continue to keep that in mind, and inform your publics that they need to be involved in their own safety. And the first step is to be prepared, and the second step is to be informed. And to be informed, they need to be opting into our communication avenues. Thank you, May. I appreciate the opportunity.
No, thank you, Gary. And I pulled up the Alert Monterey County website for people. This is where people can sign up to get those emergency notifications. And I can also send out the link to this after the briefing. But Gary, are there other forms of notification that you'd like people to know that they can opt into?
We also utilize Nixle, which is strictly a cell phone notification that you dial 888-777, and then I can't remember off the top of my head the code name you put for wildfire notifications, but we'll get that to you, and you can publish it to your folks. Actually,
Luna, is it MCOES MC, or which one is it backwards? Do I have it backwards?
MCOES.
So
if you text MCOES to 888-777, it automatically signs you up. Our Alert Monterey County is for emergency alerts. Nixle is for emergency alerts, and we provide some other information on there as well, such as if there's any major traffic conditions or something like that that's impacting the county, or a large portion of the county.
All right. Thank you both. Are there any questions on preparedness or any other things that our presenters talked about today? Yes, Dorothy.
I'd like to add some additional clarification that helps if you are going to do defensible space work with trimming trees and managing the brush around your home. If you live in an area that has a lot of sensitive species and habitats, before you do any major work, you'll want to contact the Monterey County Housing and Communities Development Planning Division to confirm whether your property has any zoning restrictions, such as scenic easements or specific setbacks that have to be complied with. That way, we won't get into a situation where too much has been done on certain trees and brush, and want to make sure that you have a good balance between fire safety as well as the environmental considerations for your property.
Good point. Thank you very much. Any other last thoughts? Things people want to add before we sign off for this week? If not, thank you so much for joining us and talking about these important issues. And everyone, just please stay safe, and hopefully we won't have a repeat of last year. Thanks for joining us on the media briefing. Our next briefing is next week. We'll see you then.
Thank you very much, everyone.